All right, call the order of the Estacada Traffic and Public Safety Committee. First of all, can you join me to pledge allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Evelyn, can I get roll call, please?
Commissioner Burke. Commissioner Terrell.
Here.
Commissioner Owens.
Here.
Commissioner Dobbs.
Here.
Chair Moriarty.
Here.
We have Counselor McElroy.
Here.
And we're missing Commissioner Sedgberg and Vice Chair Dolezal.
Okay, so we're good. We have quorum. We're good. 5 out of 7. All right. Anything from moving on to community comments? Anything from the community? Okay, come on up, Mr. Harris. That's fine.
Hi, I'm Shane Harris. I got a question about the Wade Creek Apartments and that part, the strip that's in front of it. It's on Eagle Creek where Wade
Oh, yeah.
Creek, they built apartments. They extended that little section that's from Wade Creek to the road. I know on the other side of Campanilla, that's no parking. Now that you have residents that are moving in there, they are parking overnight in that little strip. Is that the extension of the bike lane? And is that actual overnight parking? Because now cars are, when they're moving in, they had a truck with a horse trailer that they're unloading in, and the horse trailer was extended into the lane of traffic. I know that was
You
temporary,
mean the
but
apartments just past
Wade
the
Creek.
library?
yes,
Okay,
the new ones that just went in, the access area, they extended it so cars can park in there. It's wide enough now. The bike lane goes through that, but stops after the Wade Creek Apartments heading out of town.
right.
My question is that permitted overnight parking? Because vehicles are now doing that. Because across the street at Wade Creek, across the street at Campanella, that has actual no parking at any time posted signs. Because if you go out that way, you see that section is very wide for cars to pull in. But they've widened that little section there where the bike lane goes through, and cars are parking there overnight now. I'm just curious. They're using it to load, unload. They had a trailer extended into the oncoming traffic lane because they didn't pull all the way in instead of going into the parking lot. Just curious if that's going to be used for no parking, because that is part of the bike lane, or if it is allowed for overnight parking or residents to use.
I can definitely ask that. And
Because that was a question that came up when they introduced last year building those apartments about overflow parking.
right.
And they had no answer about it.
I will say, I've never seen that parking lot full.
It's
Like, I
not
don't
now.
think
It's
it's
just,
rented yet, like,
that's what surprised me was that
so that
a
could
white
be-
minivan was
another
there
resident.
in the morning. We came by next day and it was still parked in the exact same spot on the street. Instead of in their parking lot, which only had like 5 cars in it.
Okay.
So that was just a question I have.
I can relate to that, you guys, because I deal with this parking up right where we live. When I call that in, they say they have 72 hours to park and then they have to move. So, I mean, it just puts a damper on our street because we can't do anything about it. And I think that's what's going to happen at those apartments, because I live by those apartments and I watch this happening.
I saw the horse trailer too. I thought I remembered that was gonna, and I'm going off memory, so don't take it as the word, but I think I remember that being parking out in the front. I don't know if it was described as overnight or not, but I thought I remembered there was gonna be the ability to park in the front side of that. Might just be location for moving large items in, that it's the closest in proximity for doing it. Yeah.
Is there signage there now, Shane? No.
Campanella side has no parking sign. That side on Wade Creek, where those apartments are, there's nothing there. I was just curious.
Could also be that the profile of the street changed from the development when Campanella happened and the new, not the TSP. What word is it? The TSP that
Yeah.
had the definition of the roads?
Yeah, and it
I don't know if it
changed.
changed the road profile.
And we allowed them, I mean, they did it before we made the change.
Yeah.
So like that profile, I can't remember what the profile is supposed to be, but whatever they did is correct because they're gonna do it on the next department too,
Yeah.
like on the next
So
phase.
major arterial, is that what it six is?
But
it
is that
Major arterial profile?
Clackamas County, or is that Estacada?
We took over jurisdiction in that area.
Okay, so it is, okay.
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, we took from there up to, I believe it's River Mill. We
Oh,
took over from there.
Is that classification of six there? Is that major arterial? It is?
It
Okay.
definitely would be.
Is that, and that allows for parking in that profile, right?
And I
Yeah.
think I'm not gonna speak on it because I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Can-
We'll look into it.
It's-
That might be the explanation for why it was different on the Campanella side than on the new side, because some of the street profile changed, and so they're probably building it to the current code.
One of the developers, he said this was last year, said he wasn't sure if the parking permitted on the road himself. And I haven't seen it.
The right side of that road used to be county. I mean, every time we wanted to do something, they say, well, I call down here and I said, well, you have to contact the county.
Hmm.
'Cause that's the county side of the road, which is really weird.
But we're good now. It's
But yeah,
Estacada
now-
both
Yeah.
sides.
Yeah, we took over
City.
jurisdiction,
good.
and I think it was initiated because of that property.
Okay,
That'd be good.
excellent. We'll get back to you. More information on that, Shane. All right.
Yeah.
Yes. Moving on to the consent agenda. All right, can I get a motion to approve the February 27, 2024 minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Can I get a motion? Do I have a second?
I second.
All right. All in favor, or is there any corrections on those minutes? If not, everyone, can I get a vote on passing the February 27, 2024 minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right. Everything was good. All right. Presentation and reports, appointment of chair and vice chair. All right, I want to say thank you to everyone for entrusting in me for the last 17 months as the chair since 2022. It's been a true honor to serve the community of Estacada. Evelyn, Brian, it's been very easy doing the job because of you guys. Appreciate that. So if everyone's agreeable, I'd like to make a motion to appoint John Dolezal, the new chair for 2024, 2025. If everyone's okay with that?
Yep.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor of John Dolezal as the new chair for traffic and public safety? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes.
Should we let him know?
Congratulations, John. All
What you
right,
get for missing a meeting?
and vice chair, do I have any motion for vice chair?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Carrie Dobbs.
All right,
I'll second that.
motion, second. All in favor that Mr. Dobbs for the vice chair, traffic and public safety for 2024, 2025. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Dobbs.
You have my eye.
It's mostly a computer oriented position, so that'll work out.
Excellent. All right, moving on to the annual report and budget. Goes to city council in
Just-
April.
Just a reminder, and if there's anything you all wanted to discuss
Okay,
beforehand.
and
wanted
I
to give-
finally submitted the right budget to you. I
Yep.
apologize for that. Again, thank you, Evelyn, for saying, is this the right one? And I review it again and it wasn't. So thank you for doing that. So I know you guys voted in February to remove the 29,000 for Don's departments. So this one going forward is the 4,751. Everyone's good with that one? Taking all that big chunk out? Everything's good on that, so that'll be presented to the city council in April,
The second meeting in April.
second meeting.
Yeah.
All right. And what was the other thing? The annual report. All right. That's just everything that we've done.
Yep, and then you have that project priorities list.
Okay,
That'd be great to also present to council as your goals and kind of your plan for 2024, 25.
does anyone have any changes on the budget at all? No, okay. Does anyone have any changes on the annual report that I put out? We started in November of 2022, and I just tried to go through every meeting briefly. Unfortunately, it was 3 pages, so I apologize. But does anyone have anything to add on that? Both on your time and
Was,
Council Metcalf's time?
was there? I know one thing that'd be beneficial to the council that we've been asking a lot of the committees is you guys have a priorities list. And then was a summary, like in the reference of what you guys got done last year, did you reference? I didn't get a chance to take a
That's
look,
okay.
but it's
We do.
checking off your list from 2023.
Yes.
I see this current
Yeah.
project list for this year, but you check the boxes for what you accomplished on
Mhm.
on your priorities list on there.
Well, yeah, we just have, like on the first one there. For school zone crossing safety, did I put? Yeah, we put on the annual report what was accomplished. And on the school zone, we want to do River Mill, and we want to do one at 6th and Broadway in regards to the school zones.
I just meant like, so you have your priorities list that you guys are setting for this year.
Right.
Next year,
Mhm.
when you put your accomplishments, if you could reference
Oh,
each of these
got it.
items. So that it's been a big thing with the council, just having measurable goals.
Mhm.
And so that when the committee sets out, hey, this is what I want to accomplish this year, it'd be nice to get that summary for when you guys produce what you accomplished the year before, that you checked your boxes off of what, this was on our priorities, we got it accomplished. So then you have real concrete, it just shows everybody, hey, we set our
Absolutely.
goals, that we got the council's feedback, the council said that these were important.
Okay.
And then we checked all these off when we got all this done. And this is our goals for the next year.
Got
So
it.
I know I see the goals for this year. I see what you guys
Okay.
accomplished last year, but it'd be nice if it referenced back. I know it might be a little bit of work, but as much paperwork as you guys get done. I
Oh,
mean,
well,
it would probably be pretty straightforward to work off of your lips
Off
and
of
just
this,
say,
right.
hey, we got this done in June, blah, 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 blah.
Okay,
It'd be helpful for when it comes to the council.
that sounds good. Is everyone okay on the sorry, the annual report? Did I leave anything off the annual report? Is it okay?
Yeah.
And the priorities list, and appreciate Council McElroy's, we can go by this 2025. Hitting these, are there any ones on here that are more priority than the others? So we can maybe put this in, like Council McElroy, so we can check the boxes on what are the major priorities. Does anyone have anything?
I'm kind of always of the opinion that, taking care of these kids is a big deal. We have 4 schools.
Good.
So I kind of feel like the school zone crossing safety and lighting ought to be,
Okay.
if not the top, right at the top.
Okay, I got the North Broadway and 8th Avenue, North Broadway and North 6th. And some improvement for lightings, nighttimes event at the crosswalk at the high school, the football field. And then improved lighting in front of the middle school to the intersection Northeast Main and Northeast 6th. As 5 things that I think we can accomplish with the information and the budget that we sent to Don on the pedestrian crossings, and some collaboration with PG&E and or Public Works.
I would like to ask a question. I'm
Mhm.
curious about this. With the school bond coming up soon. Of course, I don't know which way that's going to go, but let's say it passes. Would some of the things that we have listed be included in what they're going to be doing to upgrade or not? And if it doesn't pass, then I would assume that, we would have to step up and do these things. Do you see what I'm saying? Is that gonna make a difference whether the bond passes or not, how we tackle this issue?
Well, I think the first thing, the bond, I think, is measuring the physical property of the school by building the 2-story behind the existing high school. I don't know per se exactly what's in there for pedestrian crossing safety or, lights, security on campus, fencing they want to put up. I don't know any of that.
I would highly doubt that anything's gonna be, with it being a remodel, basically a remodel
Right.
and them not doing new street improvements. I would doubt that anything that's in the public right of way is gonna get addressed by the bond
Okay.
project.
Okay.
I know that they had mentioned some additional off-street parking that didn't come through on the last bond, but they were promising that that's gonna happen, but other than that, a lot of those improvements are probably gonna be localized to on the property itself. not
Okay,
within
so no
the
matter
right-of-way.
which way that goes, that's not gonna affect what we're trying to get accomplished here. Thank you, that's all I
Because
have.
I think we're.
I would like to keep it on the city's list of.
Right, oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
priority.
Because it,
My priority is Rivermill.
Mhm.
Anywhere around Rivermill, because Rivermill is getting to be one of the most dangerous places for kids there is. I sit there on the corner, if they do school today, I was gonna go out and videotape all the stuff that goes on when they come to school, and when they leave school. Because people just blow through that Rivermill parking lot like there's no cars on either side of the road. But I hate to say it, but they're from Campanella's, coming out, the people that live there, the people that do the work there. In fact, I yelled at one the other night because he said, well, it's 20 miles an hour, and I was going 15. I says, 15 is a whole line of cars here, a whole line of cars here, one-way traffic, but Riverville is, I think, should be one of our top priorities. And the sign that, flashes on,
Mhm.
it's not working again.
Which one?
The one on 10th and Broadway. The walking sign.
Oh, the crosswalk,
Yeah,
to the
or
laundromat.
Yeah, or the speed sign, either
Okay.
one are working again.
Okay.
You said 10th and Broadway though, not the laundromat. Broadway's on
Well,
6th. right?
10th and Wade is where the flashing light is. It's right there at the laundromat.
You mean the 10th and Eagle Creek Highway?
Well, some people
know.
call, I know,
It's way.
It's not working.
yeah, it's not
waves.
working.
Sometimes it works.
I-
Sometimes it
I don't know what to call it, because I've always called it Eagle Creek, the way it goes Wade.
There's a solar on it.
It's funny, I mean, I don't know if there's a warranty on that sign, or,
Okay.
but that thing should be working a lot better than it is.
And I think you brought that up at the last meeting.
Yeah, they
and-
fixed it, and it lasted a week and a half, and it's out
Yeah,
again.
I think Dawn. I think Dawn said that sign is run off of solar, and those solar ones just aren't great, so it constantly has issues. And if there's no sun, it doesn't charge, so then it just doesn't work. But I can let them know that it's
Maybe
still just,
replace it with a different.
yeah,
kind
they
of
could
sign.
maybe budget for
Yeah.
something else.
Budget to one like it's down on the highway at top. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. The police have been patrolling it a lot better, so they've been getting people that come through there, but.
Cool. Just so you know, on North Broadway and 8th is where all the buses park at Rivermill
Yeah,
to cross to go to the front of the school.
when they come down 10.
And then we have North Broadway and Northeast 6 at Big Jim's. We
Yeah.
can add the northern part of the school there too. To do something there if you want.
That and the stop sign on 10th and Broadway.
All right. Counselor,
Are any of the improvements that you moved over into Dawn's area, the 29,000 you mentioned, or does any of that include the same type of sign that we're having issues with out there?
no, it's those same signs that he installed at Clackamas River Elementary and going to in
Are they
front of the
solar
junior high.
still or no?
No,
They're not solar.
Huh.
Okay.
I don't believe so. I mean, because they're always working.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I was
I'm-
thinking.
that's
I
what I'm
just want to make
saying,
sure we're
no.
not buying more of the ones that are
No.
giving us the issue. Yeah.
and I think we priced them out at one of those meetings and they're close to $9,000 each because it's got all the gadgets on it, the
Yeah.
button, the lights, the sign.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's worth it.
The kids are worth it.
Push button.
Right, push
Yeah.
button one. All right. So, yeah, and then we did all that for the school zone crossing safety. priority for road improvements. In order to study everything, and I wish the chief was here, because I'd like to hopefully borrow his speed sign in the future until we get some of those ones that we just put around, in and around town. So we can go through the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm adding one more, so 7. 7 pending traffic studies in town that people would like to see: speed bumps, better lighting, intersections, neighborhood concerns. So anyone have anything to add on that?
There be, there at Pierce, I think it's Pierce, right in front of the high school, that one crosswalk that's kind of faded, is that part of this?
We can put it on there
I've just
because it's a
noticed
school
that,
area.
yeah, I've just noticed that that's one of the areas where people seem to, it's just not a very well, like.
It's not well lit,
marked.
because that was
Right.
one of our citizens action requests, that they said cemetery all the way to Northeast Piers.
Yeah, that,
It's just poor.
that
I think,
crosswalk is very,
I think you guys talked about it
Not
last
marked.
time when I wasn't here, the Northeast 6 in Shafford, when that car did the
Mhm,
Dukes of
yeah.
Hazzard
yep,
and missed his house by about 6 feet. I just want, it was bad. I just wanted to bring up not only the stop sign getting knocked over, the tree, or the damage to the property, but is the lighting there is terrible. From right starting at Pierce going up
yeah,
Coupland. We've talked about a crosswalk there. You know, I've had exchange students in this town with my wife. We've had 4 of them. They're gonna go across there. They're not gonna walk down to Pierce and go over the teenagers. So we want to try to recommend that we put a crosswalk there at Shafford across the high school
mhm.
and the stop sign. But we need more information to make that determination moving forward. So, okay. Back to that. All right. I think we should recommend to the city council that we do another light audit like we did last year. We had people call into the city or email or do it on Facebook, what problem issues were in their neighborhoods for lack of lighting. Because I think there were probably 5, 6, 7 areas of town last year that people did that. I put that in there too. All right. Any other priority roads for improvement?
We have the speed bumps on there.
Well, we have the areas where we think we should have speed bumps.
Okay,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Think we got a bunch covered. And then see, prioritizing ADA areas for improved access and safety. We've had one request about a wheelchair, that there isn't any wheelchair access from Southwest Second or Southwest Frontage Road area by Les Schwab. It's just a little bit difficult down there. So we want to recommend looking into that. Of course, Neighborhood Watch. We want to encourage the neighborhoods to collaborate with Clackamas County Sheriffs and report issues within their neighborhoods and cooperate with the Sheriff's Department. We'll be hosting National Night Out August 6th in Estacada. Clackamas County will be there in force, showing off their all specialized equipment they have. That was quickly done, but local vendors from nonprofits will be in attendance, and local food carts will be there, and we're inviting other committees to attend. So I know John, let's say, I think we did the permit process in, I think, June of last year, so we still have time for that. But I can start asking some of the food carts, if everyone's okay with that, to see what they want to do. They want to line up over here, or does everyone still want to do it over here in the parking lot too? Is everyone okay with that? National Night Out event across the street, parking lot. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, all right. Let's see. And continue to attend the Eagle Creek Barton CPO meetings. Like in regards to the Amsiger Road. City Council talked about that and the upgrading to River Mill Road. To a roundabout. That was interesting last night. So we're able to hear everyone's voices outside the city limits. Because they have concerns on what they're gonna do there at Deuce. And Eagle Creek Highway, they're adding a lane there. So we can still hear their concerns, even though they're right outside the city limits. And some collaborations with the fire department on several trainings, child safety class. C class, sorry. Does anyone have anything to add to Don's short list? Anyone?
How are we gonna have that? I know the places were busy, but I mean, the games are starting up in schools. So how are we going to control the parking in those yellow strips
Where?
all along Broadway? You know, where we're talking about, Michael, from corner of 10th, where they have the angled parking. But after that, they painted it all yellow because it.
On the
blocks-
baseball field side.
Yeah, it blocks the traffic there, and I mean, the school buses are trying to come in and out of there, and there's games going on. And there's another one-way traffic right there through that area. I mean, they painted it yellow to try to keep it down, but it's not working. We just mentioned about the off-street parking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people are parking in that
Oh,
area?
they're parking on that street on both sides.
Huh.
That's only one
It's
way.
like threading a needle through there.
Yeah, well, it's a hard turn outside of the bus barn
Right,
there.
barn
That's a,
are turned up, coming off of Broadway and coming on the Broadway, because the traffic's there too on both sides, and they're parked right on those corners, so you can't see.
A big part of that is those, just the open space available for the kids to be able to
Yeah.
practice is overtaxed at
I know
the
it
schools
is.
because they're using 3 fields and then every spare patch of grass, you got 4 T-ball team. I mean, literally, if you go down there when it's hopping, you probably have 14 teams practicing at the same time
But
and just hundreds and hundreds of
there's
kids.
that grassy area, I mean, there's a field here, and there's a field here, and there's a road that goes straight through there. Is there any way they could park in there somewhat too?
you mean behind the high school?
No, over by River Mill. That's where they built, they built a gate to drive through,
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah,
And on this one, on this side of it, I mean, if they go in there and park angle, they could get some cars in there. And stuff.
I don't
know
think the school's gonna do that.
Yeah, I
Cause you,
know.
you have to have a pass there on the other access to get into that area as a
Yeah.
gate access and you have to have a special key to be able to get in there. And I don't know what the restrictions are. My thought would be that they wouldn't be very receptive to it, but cause I was coaching and I didn't have a key card and I couldn't get back there. And I wanted one.
Surprised they're not parking in Campanellas and then Campanellas, I mean, on the streets in Campanellas. I hate to say it, when you guys have a big function in the summertime, like 4th of July and stuff, we block our cul-de-sac off. You know, we would bury it off, because otherwise wouldn't be able to get in and out of the driveways.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Mike,
just
I have a question. Wait, I'm sorry, we done?
No, go ahead.
Okay, through that little S turn there by the bus stuff, are you saying when the season's hot, that there's kids lined up on that fence?
Not saying that there's kids, there's cars lined up on both sides of the road where you can't, you're not gonna get 2 full-size trucks getting by each other.
Right.
You have to find a spot a skinny car to kind of scoot over. And it's
Okay.
lined up from Campanella all the way down, all
Okay,
the parking's filled up, the parking lot at River Mill's filled up. The parking lot in between River Mill and
Right.
Escada is filled up. It's-
I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
it's
so the field area there, where that fence is, the cyclone fence that
Mhm.
follows that road. How packed is that in there? you said you got all these teams that come in. My question is, how about knocking that over 10 to 12 feet? That corner can be widened. That whole thing, that fence can set back. The school, from my perspective, has a lot of land where buses can be off the road in front of the school and also all through that corner. So that corner, just follow the same radius of that corner, curve and set that thing back 10 or 12 feet, that fence, whatever works in conjunction with team effort and everything like that as far as sports. But that corner sticks out and protrudes way too much. And you can't do it on the other side because you've got stuff setting there, won't move. But that field is like an open corner, it's dead right there. And to put that thing over, curb it over, dig it, you know, the whole process.
Yeah.
If it's something like that could happen, because then that takes the whole pinch out of that there, and people can still park.
Yeah.
And you would be able to get two vehicles through there. So you know, and when I look at the stuff with the buses and everything, when they're all loaded up and they're on the street, and then here's a huge piece of property right there in front of the school. And it seems like that should be lanes for the buses. You know, I mean, all of this is an idea, but it gets everything off that traffic zone, and it also frees up safety too. You know, you're not gonna, it's not a safety hazard. I don't know how do you see that, but.
No, I think it'd be great. I think that something that, I don't know if it got addressed, but the classification of that road and the amount of traffic that comes, it doesn't seem like it's designed for the amount of traffic with parking on both sides. I think it'd be worth taking a look at.
It's not supposed to.
Is
be
the creek
parking
run? I'm
lot.
just trying to visualize over there. Is there a body of water that's running near
Right,
there?
I think the
A
house
little
started.
creek, yeah.
I can't
There is
Yeah.
a pole there
Yeah.
too.
That's gonna be spendy.
Yeah.
That's one that held up, that's the same body of water that held up the Hillway extension, right? The in-water permit. Yeah, so it's just,
So,
if you don't have to mess with getting an in-water permit, then
yeah, and then also too, there is a pole there on that, before the radius comes in, there's a PGE thing to move over or whatever. But but here's this space there that, and every time I drive through there and I see the problem, what Shirley's talking about, it's like, here's this area that can be bumped over and then accommodate vehicles to pass.
I'm real visual. So if you get a moment, maybe one weekend, we can just go over there, meet
Oh, that'd
over
be
there and
great.
take a look, because I'm
Yeah.
real visual.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time. I just
Well,
remember what a pain it is, but
what
I'm
would
trying to
be
picture
really
the
good-
layout of it. Yeah.
And I agree with that. We can do a little adventure trip there and take the stakes. I got tons of stakes and just stake them out and pull the yellow tape there and do a mock-up thing
Yeah.
on the other side of the fence and say, hey, what do you think of this? Because I believe there's enough room there because it's open field.
Or you could
Yeah.
also do what we did. I mean, when we moved into our house, we had a creek behind our house, and luckily we filled it in on 2007. We had a creek, and they finally got the city to come in and put a culvert through there. Put culverts in there and then fill it in over the top of it. So that gave us, because every time it rained really hard, everything, we had, our property was eroding away and stuff. So in 2008, if we hadn't had that done at that time, we would have got flooded big time. Our next door neighbors got flooded because it came down, and that's where the culvert ended, was right there, and it went right into their house, 2,200 gallons of water into their house.
And the traffic's probably gonna get worse over there. It's a good intersection
yeah.
to think about, because when Hillway gets extended,
Right.
people from I'm up in Cascadia, so when they're gonna be coming down and the kids that are dropping off, their kids are probably gonna cut through Hillway and
Yeah.
come back that way
Back
through
out
through
the north.
Campanella, which is gonna make it even worse, the traffic coming through there. I'd be open to take a look at it. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Wow.
I think our house is about one of the only houses that didn't actually get water in 2008. My husband got water in my van because he insisted on moving it, but we're sitting right in the middle, and both houses on both sides of us got water, and
Go ahead, Casey.
Okay, I'm gonna switch gears. I'm gonna go back to this priorities list for just a minute.
Yes.
The last one we had mentioned on here was collaboration with the Estacada Fire Department, several different
Yes.
trainings and child safety C-class. couple things. I would like, because we are a traffic and public safety committee, I would really like for a fire representative to come in. It doesn't have to be as often as the sheriff's department does, but maybe every third or fourth meeting, every 3 or 4 months, and just give us some information. Just have a face here that we can talk to, ask questions about. They're part of the public safety, but we only deal with law enforcement for some reason, and they're right across the street. Another reason I would like to do that, and I would actually like to have that start this upcoming meeting, is because fire season's kicking off. Wildfires are gonna be a deal. Prior to my arrival in Estacade, I understand there was a mess when the town was trying to evacuate. Now I'm currently on the hazardous mitigation committee also, where we are looking at
Right.
evacuation situations, but the fire department has information I think would be great for the public, for the citizens here in the town to know, maybe how to avoid certain brush fires out in backyard. The burning season's kicking off. People are starting to burn trash in their yards. It gives some helpful advice that even if someone's not in the room, they can watch it on the Zoom. Just get that information out there, because I really think the public safety aspect of our committee has not taken any information really from the fire department. And I really want to incorporate them. And like I said, it doesn't have to be as often as the sheriff's office comes. It'd be great if they want to come every meeting. I would encourage that. But, you know, if we could get them here every third, fourth meeting, and then also discussing this, it's on several different trainings. I'd like to ask them what that entails, because maybe some of us have an idea of things we would like to see.
Right.
That we could recommend, you know, that they could help on that training situation, because it's kind of ambiguous. It doesn't really tell us what the training is. So maybe
Right.
we have some ideas that we would like to recommend.
That'll work.
So, but anyway, if we can get them here, because next month will be what, April meeting? So it'll be warmer, I'm sure. That's perfect time before we have any kind of wildfire issues or something, just kind of pick their brain and get some information.
Excellent. We could do that. That down there. All right, going through my notes on, I think, a couple things that I left off from the last meeting. Thank you to Don for going over to Southwest Elm and painting the fire zone, the no parking. Went over there and the thing is glowing. There's no reason to park in front of those apartments over there. It's awesome, all the way to the highway. Says no parking this way, painted the whole thing. Looks great. Right?
Yeah.
Looks
I
good.
think there
It's
was-
brand new.
Yeah, one question about, that came up during that meeting that I asked Dawn about was why, we don't paint all curbs that have no parking signs. And he said that it's, for all new subdivisions and stuff, they don't do that. They just do the no parking signs, like Lieutenant Mendoza said. You don't have to paint the curbs. He said that paint's really expensive and it's hard to upkeep, so that's why, like, if you go into a newer subdivision or something and you see no parking signs, but the curb's not painted, they're not gonna do that for newer stuff anymore.
Because the
It's just-
signage is up, therefore you don't have to paint.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's,
Go ahead, sorry.
he said that anything that has been painted previously, they will upkeep. So they will go back out and paint, but nothing new.
Do they just paint the fire hydrants location, probably in the new?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't gone around and looked at fire hydrants in the new.
Yeah, I think those are
developments, but-
required, yeah.
All right. So, oh, go ahead.
Was the guardrails?
It wasn't, I was gonna bring that up, but you can bring that up,
Okay.
Vice Chair.
We did a visual on the laying out the barriers for guardrails. And there was a suggestion made, instead of maybe doing metal, doing some kind of cable or something. I don't know if that went anywhere. We didn't really pursue that. You know, as far as coming down your street out of where you live, where people go over at times.
I remember the conversation coming up I believe it was the workshop or the council meeting, but they just recommended the cost to replace the guardrails can be expensive, that to see if possibly eco blocks would work or a concrete block there as a
substitute.
stop,
Yeah.
so that if somebody hits it, you can pick up new eco blocks for $75 as opposed to an
Really?
expensive
Okay.
guardrail, yeah. And they're 2 foot by 2 foot, 2 by 6 foot.
Yeah,
So you can just stack them up there, and for a few $100s of materials, you have, that doesn't include transporting them, but you have
Sure.
to get them
Right.
picked up.
are,
But you could line up 6 of them and have a few $100s of materials.
are they concrete?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
talking about the ones that have the bevel and then go up type thing?
Yeah.
Or,
They have a notch in the middle of them, and they have decorative ones that have a embossed
yeah.
face that are 2 by 2 by 5 foot.
yeah,
And then what they call eco blocks are the more just plain looking or 2 by
Sure.
2 by 6. You could stack them too high and get, a 24 foot strip
Yeah.
with 8 blocks in there.
Yeah, metal.
oh, that's a great
Metal-
idea.
Metal has a tendency, if you hit it just right, it'll come through your windshield or the blocks won't.
Yeah.
I've seen a car come through the windshield, piece of metal, and his car sitting up over here and like this, and it just missed his head.
People were a little concerned about the impact there, that
Yeah.
the guardrail is gonna be more forgiving. But the cars that I've seen that have gotten wrecked out there are typically during the ice, and they're
Yeah.
just not able to stop
Right.
and probably going 5 to 15 miles an hour for the impact, and sometimes turning sideways.
Oh, yeah.
Then there's an idea for a curb, but then if they turn sideways and they hit that curb, they're gonna
They could
have a
slip.
roll event.
Yeah.
where-
I've worked
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of accidents in my career. And the cable barriers, those came around later in my career, but I worked a lot of accidents with those, and those give.
Yeah,
The concrete, you're gonna come to a sudden stop, and it's almost just as bad as it not being there and you coming off and coming to a sudden stop on the downhill side. I just don't think personally, I mean, because I've worked the concrete wrecks and I've worked the cables. The cables are, I know they're more expensive, but they are gonna cause a whole lot less injury to the person and the vehicle for that matter, which we don't care about the cars, but coming to a sudden stop in concrete when you're sliding is not fun. It's gonna hurt.
And the airbag would go off, I'm
Yeah.
sure, too.
What elevation are the cables at, or the space?
There's usually like 3 of them. There's a post and then you'll have 3 cables. In Oklahoma, we have them, almost every major highway has them now for
Wow.
the length of the state. I mean, they just did it.
going to
And it
Welch,
was-
they have cables still, don't they?
And it was to keep the cars from doing, on the interstate like I-40 going east and west, you wouldn't have the people crossing over and hitting head on. But those things give, they're made to give, and it would only destroy. Usually, once we had an accident between 2 posts, they would just come out and stretch wires between only just those 2 posts. You wouldn't have to do like a mile-long stretch. It would just, and usually those cables were okay and probably could be used again, but just liability wise, I think they said, no, we'll just go put a new cable in there. So I don't think the upkeep, is that expensive. I just know that it causes a whole lot less injury to the drivers when they hit those than anything that's going to come to a sudden stop. I mean, it's just going to hurt. So,
Well, maybe we could,
The cables weren't part of the discussion. It was the guardrail or the
Guardrail.
blocks.
Oh,
that
the
had-
cables weren't part of it?
Yep. I don't remember.
Yeah, we
coming
brought that
in
up.
the Discussion, I remember there wasn't anything about cables.
yeah, there's usually 3 cables and they'll give and but they'll stop everything and they're so much more safer for the drivers. So much more safer. So.
So we can give those options. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. All right, go back to, so does anyone else have anything on for the annual report or the budget or the priority project list discussion?
you probably, you said this, but where was the stuff on was it under miscellaneous for the speed bump?
Well, we have to, once we do the traffic studies, then we can decide on
Okay.
what rates of,
okay.
the one that you recommended was
Yeah.
not the big speed bump,
Right.
it was the ones you could
There's
just,
humps and bumps.
Right.
They're different, a hump is more of a bam, A lot of cars are set low to the ground, so the speed bump is not as, or the hump is better than the bump. The bump has a higher radius. And it's, you go over it, you bounce.
They're like the ones that by the school.
Well, where, you know, I think we need I think we need a quantity of them because people move fast
Yeah,
everywhere they can, which they're a deterrent. And, you know, I go back to the lady that lost her cat, you know, and this was quite a while back, but you know, everybody has animals, I'm sure. They become part of the family, but it's just like there's this giant gap where I think we should move on some of this stuff. That's all.
We put that in Don's budget. I don't remember how
Yeah.
many it was, but I can't remember. You remember that one?
we have,
Other 29,000? I don't remember,
There-
but we did put those in there.
Right, and buying it, I think we talked also previously about getting a quantity of them.
Right.
Because, you know, the traffic study is gonna say, okay, this is so many feet apart. And the distance of them, and quite frankly, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you take a tape measure and just go measure what they already exist at, you just put them down at that same distance. And these are the kind that are pinned down. There's two types. They go down by an adhesive, which some is great. But the other kind are a pin that you drive through the concrete or through the asphalt and they're down. And so I don't know, I just kind of was wanting to move on. The public is the ones that are requesting this stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
especially around Riverman.
that's my,
Yeah, when you're coming in off of Broadway, you either go straight into the school or you go to the left and come around that corner. That is a very dangerous corner when there's kids getting out of school, because people just whip around that corner. And that's where the speed bump needs to be, right around that corner, because there's kids coming out from the cars. You know, it's a blind area. You know, I mean, I'm always for kids, starting with the skate park on, I've always been with the kids in this town. So I think the kids' safety comes first,
Absolutely.
so.
Right. Well, I just want to reiterate what Mr. Dobbs said about the barriers, whether it be concrete or cable. They were at Northeast Cascadia Ridge, Northeast Rockwell Drive, and Fourth Avenue out here, where we don't have any sidewalks going from Ginseng up to Reagan Hill there, right in between, or Oakview and Ginseng there. So those are the three for the barriers that I'll add to that.
Fourth and Ginseng.
Yeah, it's between Ginseng and Oakview. It's right where that 22 feet across that pinch point is there.
Right in the park.
Yeah. So we all good on, let's see, those three things, the report, the budget, and the priority project list. Are we good on those? Anyone? We can still add to it, but that was pretty good, getting all that out of the way. That was you, Counselor. You good? All right. And watch the last meeting and number 3, I think we can table number 3 for sometime in the future. Everyone's shaking their heads, yes? Okay, all right. Ways to work with other committees. What was raised last time?
This was something John mentioned.
Okay,
That he attended the committee summit, I
That's
think
right.
it was. And he just thought it would be good for you guys to kind of talk about ways that you could work with the other committees.
okay.
So.
We can do that. Maybe invite a national night out or attend some of their meetings. Sounds good. Or go to the city council meetings and you hear what everyone's doing all at one time. I'm just kidding.
On the national night out, are you guys gonna have games and stuff for the kids? to play?
Yes,
Would you like me to bring a cornhole game?
I'm sorry.
Bring the cornhole down for the kids
Sure.
to play?
Yeah, that'd be good.
It says Oregon State, so if you're a Beaver fan, stuff.
Do you have a Ducks one? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I do have a duck one, my grandson. Hmm,
Would you like to volunteer for the dunk tank?
No, no, my doctor would
The
never.
kids, they had a pretty good turnout. They had, I can't remember one of the events we had here in town and that somebody had their daughter, it was Charity.
Charity.
That had her daughter was up there and it was pretty popular. They were getting a lot of comers that wanted to dunk the kids, you know.
Like I'm having my knee operated on that on July. I don't think my doctor would go for that.
No,
No,
I'll take your place.
Okay.
I'll do a couple hours. if not two.
I'll volunteer my husband.
there you go. All right, so moving on to National Night Out planning. I think Keith can do what he did last year. I think he had a list of the nonprofits, contact them. So I can set up the tables. I know he was in communication with everybody. I can go talk to the food carts on the date. What's the date again? My goodness. I gotta put it in here.
August sixth,
My kid.
I'm sorry.
August sixth.
Is it the first Tuesday? I think this. Goodness gracious, sorry. Wrote it down somewhere.
I see August sixth. I just don't know what date that is.
August 6th, not the 13th, Tuesday. Okay. All right. All right. Anyone else have anything on the National Night Out? Since we are a little out in advance of that. No? No? Go ahead, Shane, come on up.
This is for National Night Out.
Yeah.
Washington County, when I worked over there, they had, I don't know if the program is the sheriff's department also, or the fire department, they had what was called, child safety kits. They were called child safety kits. You could fingerprint your kids. This is something you keep at home. It doesn't go to the police department or this.
Right.
So if something happens to your child goes missing, you have their fingerprints, a photo ID. It's like a little passport for kids. You had a locket of hair for DNA. We used to hand these out when I worked in Washington County. I just don't know if for snap, I know some kids would love to get fingerprinted, but
Right.
this is also for parents to keep for their children for National Night Out for safety to have these little kits available.
Definitely.
I don't know where you get them. I don't know where my job got them, but we used to put them out all over Washington County at restaurants and places like that.
Definitely good recommendation.
Yeah.
We can ask Chief Mendoza or maybe Officer McClurg down there. That would be good. Get some of those going. All right. Moving on to the next one. That was just a information for everybody on AAA. It was something recent, but it was a study they did on crashes. And I'm assuming people, coming back from work, going to work. But it had an interesting, it did include rural areas, but across America, rural, arterial, rural collector, locals. So that was just for everybody's benefit there. And thank you again, Evelyn, for all that. No pictures this time. So does anyone have anything or Deputy Bigler, do you have anything? No? Okay, thank you for being here though. Appreciate it. Does anyone have anything for next month, for April? Anything specific?
I'd just like to remind you to try to extend an invitation for the fire department to come to that next meeting.
Yep. That sounds
Do
good. I
that.
wrote it down. You guys have anything for us? I know Melanie reached out to me to have her or Don here for the next one for our priorities list.
That's the only thing.
You get the fire department, that'd be perfect timing for a quarterly, because it falls on April,
Mhm.
so then you could have a January, April.
Okay.
Whatever.
Do that. All right. So, yeah, a bunch of stuff here, man. I don't think they have anything else. I don't see any more little notes here. All right, so anyone have anything else for this evening?
I would like to say one more thing. Jim, I want to tell you at least personally, and I know I speak for everybody, how much we appreciate all the work that you've done for this committee being chairman. This was a brand new committee. Nobody knew how it was supposed to operate, how we were supposed to go, but you kind of set the agenda and stepped in, acted like you knew exactly what you were doing. We all just made it very simple for us to follow your lead. You're a great leader of this community. You we're on top of everything that came up before us and even had foresight to see things that we were gonna have to deal with in the future and got out in the field and took care of issues that were brought up. And I just don't think we could have chosen a better chairman to start us off. And I appreciate your time with us, and I'm glad you're still gonna be on the committee. We
Of
don't have to
course.
say goodbye, but
I'm not going anywhere.
I know John and Carrie will step up and carry on, because you kind of set an example of how this should be done. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. Thank you. All right. Anyone else have anything?
Yeah, I do.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Because you're not going anywhere.
No,
We can pick your brain.
sure. Absolutely.
You set the pattern.
That's right. Absolutely. So we don't have anything else. I will adjourn the Traffic Public Safety Committee meeting for March. Thank you.